So happy to have my first guest, Rick Johnson, back. You were on the first edition of this program back in the fall of 2014.
It was a great pleasure and honor to get to be the inaugural guest. It was great.
Oh, your old hat at this then, okay. Well, let's start with this program with the Governor's Foundation for Health and Wellness in the state. This is a volunteer effort. I mean, this is not a mandated program, but what you're trying to accomplish with this in the workplace, wellness in the workplace, it's a different, you have a different set of kind of obstacles, don't you, versus people who don't work. I mean, the challenges are a little different. Can you describe what you're up against?
Well, they are. The initiative, the program is called Healthier Tennessee, and we have a lot of activity going on in workplaces all across the state. Workplaces are tremendously important opportunities for people to engage in healthier behavior and healthier habits because a lot of research and a lot of science and medicine shows that we are more likely to make changes where our behavior is very affected when we're in community, when we're with other people. So an awful lot of us, fortunately, are getting to go to work every day and be around other people and be influenced by our peers and in turn support and influence them. So workplaces are a tremendous opportunity for people to live a healthier life while they're at work. But there are inherent challenges, just like there are in our life as a whole. We're working in service sector jobs these days, many of us, in fairly sedentary kind of workplaces. We sit a lot when we work. We tend to have available food at work that isn't always, the healthiest of snacks, or when we have meetings and gatherings at work, we tend to, or celebrations at work, we may not always be choosing the healthiest foods when we do that. And so the idea of being able to move more while we're at work, to be more physically active during the workday, and to choose or have an opportunity to have access to healthier food during the workday is really important.
As you're saying this, I'm thinking it would lead to the creation of maybe more sites in offices where people could take a break and work out, to have access to some of, whether it's the equipment or to get out and take a walk, to have your bosses encourage that.
Yeah, there really are kind of 5 key things that we encourage employers to implement as part of workplace wellness, and that we encourage employees to participate in and be champions for. And one is to move around at work. Set an alarm or your smart watch or something that tells you every 30 minutes move around some. Don't sit longer than that period of time, even if it's just walking around the floor or walking around in the hallways where you're working. If you can get outside and take a little bit longer break or walk, that's great. So moving around at work, using the stairs instead of the elevator, walking at lunchtime, maybe coming in a little early and walking before lunch or after lunch. So being active at work, number 1. Number 2, choosing healthier foods, both as snacks, as celebratory food, as rewards, healthier food. A smoke-free, tobacco-free workplace, and preferably a smoke-free campus, a tobacco-free campus. And then to encourage and enable employees to have annual health checkups, annual health risk assessments and checkups. Getting connected to primary care and getting diagnosed and understanding your health condition is really important to being healthier over time. And then finally, to reward and recognize, both 2 really key words, participation in wellness programs and then achievement in these programs.
So what are some of the pros and cons of technology when it comes to wellness in the workplace?
Yeah. So we are again back to the fact that we're in these jobs where we're very often using technology, looking at screens, working on computers, working where we are utilizing technology in a really efficient way, but we're not moving around and being active when we're doing that. So. But the flip side of that is that there are devices and programs that get delivered to us digitally or electronically that help us to count steps, to keep up with calories, to get better sleep by monitoring what our sleep patterns and our sleep time are like. And those things can be carried into the workplace and utilized there just like they are at home.
How do you influence people to change their behavior which is so ingrained in them, and especially in the state of Tennessee with the high rates of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, et cetera.
No, exactly. We live in a space and in a time that make healthy choices not always the easiest or most available choices. We are addicted to screens, and we do spend a lot of time sitting down looking at them. We live in suburban and rural environments where we are very dependent on the car, so we don't walk as much during our day. We're also surrounded by plentiful and, relatively speaking, inexpensive calories. A lot of the least expensive foods are often not the healthiest foods. And so we are in a time and in a place where the built environment and the social environment make the healthy choice a challenge sometimes. So we all have to come to a point where we realize that we are going to feel better. We're going to not have as many expensive and burdensome and really difficult diseases and health conditions to live with, and we may live longer, we probably will, if we are more active, if we don't use tobacco, and if we can keep our weight within reasonable limits. So we're choosing healthier foods and conscious of nutrition. Mm-hmm. But it becomes a matter of doing it in a way that you're likely to be able to do it. If it's too expensive, too time consuming, really complicated and difficult, just too hard to do, the odds are none of us are going to say yes to that.
What's been the response from employees? Can you give us kind of a snapshot since you started the program?
Yeah, so we have a program called Small Starts for Work that's available online at our website, healthiertn.com. And employees or employers can go there and get help with workplace wellness programs. There are nearly 3,000 workplaces in the state now that have utilized those tools for workplace wellness, and most of those are in organizations with 50 or more employees. So there are a lot of Tennesseans, fortunately, that have had access to these tools to help them to have a better workplace wellness program.
In our last few seconds, have the major employers in the state been pretty receptive to this program?
They have. Most of the largest employers in the state of Tennessee now have good and sustained workplace wellness programs. There are still a lot of smaller smaller employers, smaller mm-hmm. businesses and workplaces that are just beginning to kind of come to figure out how to do this and want to get help to do this, and we're seeing more growth among small businesses and small places to work than in the large corporations.
Sounds like you're making a great tangible impact on people's lives. Thank you so much for coming back in to see us. We hope it won't be 5 more years till you come back.
I hope not either.
Okay,
thank you for asking
Rick.
me.
Thank
Good
you
to
so
be
much.
here.
And we'll be right back with a lot more after this.